All right, Ryan, what are we looking at over here behind us?
Thanks for coming out to the field today, Ted. So what we have here is one of our rice fields, one of the first ones that we're flooding up this spring to germinate the rice. And so this is a really unique field. Traditionally, this field had been tilled 4 or 5 times in a perfect year. And this year, in part because of this Healthy Soils grant and the conservation or minimum tillage that we're running on this field had 1 pass of tillage.
Amazing.
So we've gone from 4 or 5 on a normal year to 1 pass this year. And we've got a great seed bed. You can see the clods are maybe pea to marble size, maybe a few golf ball size clods in between, but this is going to be phenomenal. The water's coming in right behind you there, Ted.
Oh.
So be careful of that. So this field has about 10 cubic feet per second of water coming across the field. It's 0 grade precision leveled with RTK GPS networks to make sure that water just goes across here as thin as possible, like it's just razor deep out there. And so this field had 1 pass of tillage, and we seeded right into that seed bed that we made with one of these new tools that we implemented on this farm, in part because of this grant. So thank you for that.
Amazing.
Yeah, so Ted, we're just talking about the GPS equipment with RTK base stations. So we have our own base station that we put up at the edge of the field that emulates satellites, so it knows its horizontal and vertical position to within less than an inch. So we want these fields that we're growing rice on our farm to be essentially like a pool table, perfectly flat. And with GPS, it allows us to do that, and it takes into account the curvature of the earth. So we have precise water management for better weed control, better stand establishment, and just being better stewards with our water so we don't have to use as much.
Amazing, amazing. Now you said this was going to take about 4 days to flood up?
To get to the end of this field, it'll take about 4 days to get covered with water. That's right.
What's the size of this field here?
This field is just under 100 acres.
Just under 100 acres.
That's variable, of course. Depends on how hot it is, what the ET rate is, and that's some things we're looking forward to implementing on our farm here this year, including this field, is remote water management with a Wi-Fi network on our farm and sensors embedded in the fields to know when the water is there, how deep that water is, and then we'd like to try and tie in ET data to model our predictive needs going forward so that we can work with our irrigation districts and our water managers here on the farm to know when those fields need water and how much they'll need ahead of when the plant actually needs it.
Amazing, amazing. Well, if you actually get up here, you can actually hear the water bubbling over the surface. I'm not sure if you can, but now if you were to not have this, what you said, real-time kinetics implemented on this to get that 0 grade, would you see an increased time in your application to flood this field up? Or
yes, if we didn't have leveled fields, we would have to use more water to get the field deeper to cover all the spots. You'd have highs and lows or hills and valleys in the field, and we want those taken out. So this is one of the tools that we've been able to incorporate on our farm because of this Healthy Soils grant, and this is called a Degelman Pro Till. And this is a high-speed disc, and that's what allows us to gain some efficiencies and to reduce our tillage passes from the traditional 4 or 5 in rice farming down to the 2 passes. So we're saving a tremendous amount of diesel fuel and time, all of the things we've spoken about today. This machine is designed to operate at 10 miles an hour or greater. If you have a machine that can pull it that fast, it works better. The faster you pull it, the faster those disc blades are spinning in at tip speed. So it's almost like a rototiller action in a garden at your home, right? We're trying to break that soil down, break through the crust, aerate that soil a little bit, dry it out where we can. We don't want to go down too much into the mud to slow things down, but we want to start to open that up and dry it down where we can. As you saw earlier, the soil can stay very wet. It's very flat. There's a lot of clay here, and so you can still make ribbons of mud or even your fingerprint in there. You just pull it right off the machine, and it's still very wet. And here we are into May already today. And so these discs, though, allow us to break the soil into small particles to make a great seed bed. They also incorporate the straw and organic matter in the form of these weeds to kill the weeds, or the organic matter that we had in the field left over from last fall's harvest to help increase that organic matter in the soil. And so we can cover a lot of acres fast at 10 or 12 miles an hour with this machine. Again, that tip speed, breaking those clods up. There's 2 rows of discs and kind of this leveling drum or this basket back here to make sure it rides level and tracks straight, and just any last minute big clods that didn't make it chopped into smaller sizes, it will help throw them up into the air with kinetic energy. It's fun to see them crash back down and fall and break apart. So that's really a key part of our Healthy Soils grant, is using this tillage tool on as many acres as we can, just because it's saving us passes.
Saving you passes. Okay. Okay, and you're actually increasing the amount of surface area, seed soil contact, and a reduced amount of passes. And what is this actual piece of equipment called? It's a Degelman, I'm sorry?
It's a Degelman Pro-Till high-speed disc. Now, there's lots of manufacturers for high-speed disc. John Deere, international manufacturer, Case International manufacturer, and sell these types of discs.
Okay.
This one happens to be a great brand, very heavy-duty, well-built for our conditions here in Northern California.
So is this a pretty common piece of equipment you see used in California, or?
This is one of the first in its kind in California. This is the first one in Northern California. So we worked with them to bring this tool here to us. But across the Sierras and the Rockies, this tool, a high-speed disc, is ubiquitous from the Canadian plains down to Texas. This is used in corn and bean and wheat country extensively to prepare their fields for planting because it's efficient and it works really well to break down and size that soil right for that good seed-to-soil contact, good stand establishment. And that's the foundation for a great healthy crop.
Amazing, amazing. All right, Ryan, well, thank you so much for having us out here today. Now, Healthy Soils program sounds like it's definitely been a very successful implementation as far as it goes for your farm, your operation here. Is that correct? Yeah, happy with the program in general?
Yeah, that's right. The Healthy Soils program we're just implementing on the farm, so we hope to have a nice successful run with your help and the Center for Regenerative Ag and CDFA and certainly the Butte County Farm Bureau as well.
Amazing. And now, is there anything you'd like to potentially see in future solicitations of Healthy Soils? Any additional practices you're thinking about implementing on this farm? You can use conservation.
Oh yeah, gosh, there's so many great things that I think CDFA and folks could do. One of which is involving better weed management tools, maybe moving away or combining with conventional crop protection tools and herbicides, but bringing maybe laser weeders or something to zap weeds with, right? A mechanical way, perhaps even in a rice field type condition. Maybe we get it dry or in rows, but we can look for some additionality there to prolong the herbicides that we do have and use some economical control methods outside of crop protection tools, but also, again, working in combination with them just to produce a better crop, right? That's what it's all about.
Possibly incentivize some precision ag technology coming into your
I think the other precision ag thing is, as I mentioned earlier, we're setting up a Wi-Fi network across our farm fields to connect water management devices to give us better control and better management, better monitoring of our water conditions, and to be able to have that historical data tied in with our SIMA station that the Department of Water Resources has here on our farm, and then do some predictive modeling to how much the crop will need, how much the soil will need, so that we can anticipate and deliver the right amount of water again at the right time to be better stewards of that water, especially as we're challenged with water availability here in California when policymakers or drought decides to throw things up in the air for us and give us a curveball from time to time, as they do.
Absolutely. Now, is this practice, these conservation practices, something that you're likely to continue in the future without potential incentive funds from CDFA or NRCS? Would these conservation practices be something you'd be interested in implementing into the future?
Well, they'd be interested in implementing into the future, but certainly the grants you mentioned from NRCS and CDFA and things like that certainly help allow us to have the flexibility to implement them here on our farm. And I think we're more inclined to take some of those risks to implement some practices that really are game changers, right? With kind of the help and support of some of these grants. It allows us to invest in that technology, knowing that we have some partners there. We're not kind of going at it alone entirely, if that makes sense. So we are very forward thinkers. We're innovators on the farm. Again, we want to do more with less and be here for another generation. We're into not only growing crops, but I think families are really our number one crops and legacies. And so we want to continue that going forward. And so I think we'll always be innovators, but it helps really push the ball forward for our family and our industry with the help of CDFA, the Butte County Farm Bureau, and the NRCS office and those grants.
Amazing. So helping you continue to improve these conservation practices is definitely one of the best benefits you've seen with the CDFA Healthy Soils program.
That's right. That's right.
Looking forward to seeing the progress of this conservation project on your land, Ryan. Appreciate you having us out here. And thank you from everyone at Butte County Farm Bureau, Center for Regenerative Agriculture, and CDFA for having us out here and being willing to collaborate on this project. Thank you so much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ted. It's a pleasure.